Thibaut Pinot takes a fist to the face whilst Jumbo-Visma go all in on Wout van Aert green. This was stage 8. Finishing in Lausanne, they crossed the Swiss border, and I thought this was going to be a nailed-on breakaway stage. I thought it was going to be a big fight for the break, nothing too much for the GC guys, and maybe Jumbo-Visma making UAE do some work for once. They got the yellow jersey, but that wouldn't be the case. We could see at the start of the stage that when these three riders went, Catania, Wright, Frison, there's other teams that have missed this. Trek weren't there. We could see Jumbo controlling the breakaway with Laporte, not letting more riders get into it. And in the same shot, there's a crash behind a mass pileup, which even involves Tour de France leader Tadej Pogacar, who hits the deck. I think Godu goes into the grass as well. Sharkman landed on his face badly. And so this kind of broke the momentum for reattacks into the break, although Jumbo seemed keen not to let any other riders in it, as well as Bike Exchange. Quintana caught up, as well as Ben O'Connor not looking too good today. He was struggling for a lot of the stage. So UAE and Pogacar came back pretty easily in the convoy. Everyone blocked it up. Ineos and Jumbo and Lotto were blocking it up. And then when UAE got there, they put the block on. So break went with just 3 riders, and Jumbo-Visma using Nathan van Hooijdonk to pace. Pog probably couldn't believe his luck because Steker Langen's out with COVID, and he probably worried about his team's ability to pace all day, and some bonus seconds available at the finish. Wout van Aert extending his lead at the intermediate sprint on Jakobsen, although before this stage, his green jersey was already pretty much mathematically certain. So this stage didn't really change the green fight too much. He already was way, way ahead after his brilliant first 2, 3, 4 stages. Bike Exchange were also investing in Michael Matthews. They did a similar thing in the Vuelta last year to not great effect, not getting in the breakaway on sort of a breakaway stage and trying to win with Matthews from the bunch, even though Wout van Aert would be the heavy favorite. Here, Thibaut Pinot, after crashing before, he takes a musette to the face. You see the Trek right on the left-hand side is trying to take the musette, but he moves to the left, and the soigneur doesn't want to step out into the road too much because Pinot is right there behind the Trek rider trying to take the musette, and that's why the Trek rider misses the musette, and then Pinot takes his fist of the soigneur to the face. And yeah, really unlucky for Thibaut Pinot, knocks his glasses off. So not a great day for him. A man I thought I still hope will go in the breakaway and try and fight for the stage win tomorrow. But he would still come back. He'd get dropped on the last climb, obviously, but he's not fighting for GC. This wouldn't ruin his race. So hopefully he's all right. But just a weird moment that hopefully he can laugh about at a later date. He'd come back. And it was the duo of Catania and Wright continuing. Frison had been dropped in the rolling hills in the middle of the stage. Turbo Durbo pacing still. Nathan van Hooijdonk pacing for Jumbo-Visma. So Jumbo only put one rider forward. And then at this point, with the gap at 40 seconds to Fred Wright, with Catania about to drop soon, it was sort of GC teams positioning time, which would reduce the gap further with Luke Rowe, Alpecin Phoenix. They were going for Jasper Philipsen on this stage, but it's clearly too hard for him. And Tadej Pogacar, kind of curious, he closed this gap to the French guys going for a flyer. I know he has no teammates here, but yeah, he took the responsibility on himself to close it with VMOds in the wheel. Just not a gap he needed to close, really. I don't know why he did it. Maybe it cost him in the finish. Maybe it cost him 2 seconds. I don't know. Wright was still up the road. Eventually, Micah gets to the front, and I think Conrad moves up on the left, says something to Vlasov, and starts hard pacing, but he moved up too quickly, and Vlasov didn't get on his wheel. So when you see on the front-on shot, he's left him behind, and he's basically just pacing with Micah getting a free, or just an extension of the time for which he has to pace, and Pogacar third wheel. Wout was about 10th wheel at this point. Jonas in really, really good position, marking Pogacar the whole time. I think the pull of Bora was the strongest on this climb, on the steepest section, and there's a flat section in the middle where it's actually really hard to keep the pace up. You see they're doing 33 k's an hour, and Viemos loses the wheel, and Wout in the green jersey has to close it. Or maybe he didn't. Maybe he did. Has to close it in the wind himself, looking smooth to Jonas' wheel. And this is the part where it's really, really hard to not let everyone else have a recovery period off your work. And Bora are trying here, but as I said, you can see the pace on the right-hand side might not be that exact speed. They're going uphill. But it's this second kick with 1,500 to go where I'm like, are UA going to put the pressure on? Mike is looking around, and he was looking for Brandon McNulty. I think the order was supposed to be McNulty pacing, then Micah, and then Pog was maybe going to launch, but McNulty was out of position for a lot of the climb. When he moves up, you see Micah actually say something to him, and McNulty starts pacing. But they're not. You see how fat the peloton is. Bora and Conrad had it strung out even more, I think, as Philipsen drops. And here you make another mistake where when Micah starts pacing, McNulty goes back and is on in front of Pogacar, but McNulty's struggling to hold the wheel, and he's going to lose the wheel. So now Pogacar has to close the wheel to his own teammate on the climb, and just it doesn't make a huge difference. But there's two 1%ers that went against Pogacar on this climb at the start, and that one there whilst Micah's pacing, and you see visibly they get over that lip. It's a pretty flat, for these guys at least, finish to this stage. False flat uphill, 3%. And so when they get to that section, still a big group. You can see it levels off a lot. And it's Pogacar on the front, Jonas in front of Wout van Aert. Guillaume Martin tries a flyer. Bob Jungels moves up, but Wout van Aert gets terribly boxed in at this point. And we're thinking, have Jumbo-Visma invested the whole stage and resources for Pogacar to take the stage win, or 6 or 10 bonus seconds, and Wout to leave empty-handed? Luckily for him, Bling starts early. Wout van Aert gets a gap between Pogacar and Bob Jungels, and once he gets clear air, there can only be one winner in this drag race, with no Philipsen, no on-form Van der Poel, Cosnefroid not looking good, but you can see it could have been bad at this point. He's looking a little bit boxed in. Matthews kept him boxed quite nicely behind Pogacar, and Wout has to sort of decelerate here and even lets Krohn slide in front of him, and I think Bettiol. So once the seas did part, like you see from a bad position, he wins absolutely easily. There could only be one winner, but 50 points for Bike Exchange, another win for Wout van Aert, but crucially, 4 bonus seconds extra for Tadej Pogacar, and his team didn't have to pay. So I think a pretty good day for UAE as well. Wout van Aert winning the stage ahead of Michael Matthews, Pogacar third, Krohn fourth, Bettiol fifth, Vlasov seeming much better than yesterday, coming sixth in a finish that he might have hoped was a little bit steeper. Thomas seventh, Jonas eighth, Jungels ninth, Pidcock 10th. No GC guys really lost time at all. Roglic stayed in the group. All the Ineos guys stayed in the group. So no changes in that regard. Here's what Wout van Aert had to say after the stage.
With the green points for grab today, I mean, Longwy was a good opportunity, but turned out slightly different. But today was a big chance to take a lot of points on a few of my competitors. So really glad my team put just everything in it to chase down the breakaway, and you have to finish it off.
So Pogacar keeps the yellow jersey, obviously ahead of a mountain stage tomorrow, but a kind of weird one. Like, it's a 16K climb, but 12K is about 7%, and it doesn't finish on the climb. There's then a descent, then a 5K, 4% finish, probably a break stage. Pogacar's got a 39-second lead on Vingegaard. No one really sees that changing. But I hope you enjoyed the video. Subscribe down below if you did, and I'll see you with the recap tomorrow. Ciao.